Hi, welcome to episode 6 of the Stitching Book Nerd podcast. My name is Dana, I'm your host, and let's get started. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer. If you're a new viewer, thank you for checking me out. Just to get the regular stuff out of the way, you can find me on the Cross Stitch Forum, on Ravelry, and on Instagram as Book Knurd, BOOKKNURD. I'm pretty active on all of those places. So let's get started. Basically, what I'll be talking about this episode is the retreat I went on last week. I went on my first ever stitching retreat last weekend, and it was really fun, and I have lots of things to show you. So let's do that. So the retreat. So I have a local needlework shop, thankfully, that I really enjoy. Has an active stitching group. Lots of ladies meet there at different times of the week and month to stitch and talk. So I have been going there for almost a year now. It opened right about the same time that I started stitching last year. The owner has been she used to run a online shop out of her house. So she has quite a bit of ladies that have been coming and stitching with her for several years. She's been doing a retreat for several years. She does one in the fall, one in the spring. I wasn't able to go to the fall one, but I was able to go to this one because I planned ahead. So, sorry, I'm just looking at my show notes. What was I talking about? Yeah, so I signed up. We went down on Thursday. I got there on Thursday around 2, and then did not leave until Sunday after lunch. So lots of stitching. It wasn't. It was at a lodge, so it's like a real retreat. We're retreating into the rural areas of Arkansas. We didn't leave the lodge until we left Sunday, so there weren't any, we didn't go to any shops, because there aren't that many shops in Arkansas anyway, and certainly not in the area that we were in. And we were at a rustic lodge cabin thing, but it had a really big great room that was had really high ceilings and lots of windows, and so we just sat around and stitched all day, all the time, and it was awesome. So I'll show you what I worked on. So I've been working on the band sampler. I don't think I'm going to make my unrealistic deadline, as you may have guessed, for Mother's Day. I did get quite a bit more done on it, though, and this is what I mainly focused on at the retreat. So this is what I have so far. So last time, I'll just let that go. Last time I was still working on the tree. I had finished this side of this band. So I finished up this band before I went to the retreat. I had all of this done and everything but the grapes. So I finished the grapes of the retreat, and then I started this band. And this band, the next band I'm working on, I'll roll it up, is all these outline flowers. Sorry, I have to look over it. So I'm doing all the outline and cross stitch, and then these flowers will be filled up with satin stitch later. So they'll be very vibrant, which they already are very vibrant. So anyway, so I worked on this most of the time until I got sick of it. And then I did work a little bit on the black work music thing that I'm doing for my father-in-law. But not that much, because I was really trying to focus on that one. However, I'm not going to get that done in time to have it framed for Mother's Day, so I will be shifting focus to the blackwork music piece, which I do think I can get done in time to have it framed for Father's Day. So if I get it done, I have about a month to finish it, which should be fine if I just focus on it. So I'm going to work on that, so you'll see that next week. You may have noticed that this is on scroll frames now, not on Q-snaps. So for my birthday, which was yesterday, thank you for wishing me happy birthday. Anyway, it is on scroll frames, which I did not have before. I got a lap stand that holds scroll frames because I have some projects like this one that will do better on scroll frames. They're larger. They don't need to be wrinkled too much, bound up in the Q-snaps. Especially that one has satin stitch. I don't want that to get all rumpled and stuff, so I'm gonna use the scroll frame for that. I got a American Dream Products Tomorrow Treasures lap stand. I don't have it put together right now. I will try to show it to you on another episode. So I don't have this in the stretcher bars, and I don't have it on the stand. But I like it fine so far. It was a very reasonable price. It was like, I think, $75 for the 20-inch. If you buy the lap stand, it comes with 20-inch scroll rods, which are this, so the width of your project. And then you can buy longer rods, which I will be doing because I have some pretty big size projects that I'm working on. So that was that. So I like it a lot. My long-term plans for my stitching setup that I have going on, I would really I think I'm leaning towards getting the needlework for the System 4 needle, I don't know what the name of it is, it's very complicated. System 4 stand setup. It's metal, it lasts for forever. I'm hard on I tighten my things really tight because I want a tight tension. That's hard on wood frames because the wood is not, it can't stand up to that kind of pressure. So while I like my wood frames that I have right now, they're not going to last for forever. Probably not from any fault of how they're designed, but from me. So, and then my shop owner got some System 4s in to test, and she had them at the retreat. And just the way, I don't know if you've ever seen them with Q-snaps and scroll rods, you can flip them back and forth really easy. Especially the Q-snaps are held on both sides. So you could use big Q-snaps and they won't, it's like my current floor stand only holds it on one side. So if you use a too big of one, the weight's too heavy and it rotates in the clamp. So the System 4 has it held on both sides, so that can't happen. So I could use the big 17-inch Q-snap, which I would like for some of my projects. What else? You can get it with scroll rods. You can get a table stand, a lap stand, table stand, a floor stand, a table clamp for traveling. And then all of those, the frames that go on them are interchangeable. So I think that's what I will be investing in the future. But in the meantime, that's quite a bit of an expense, and I kind of needed this now. So I got this instead. But that's what I'll be saving up for in the future. Anyway, so what else? So the retreat. So we went, kind of the way the retreat set up is you pay for lodging, you pay for 2 meals a day, which are cooked by a chef at the lodge. They have like a professional kitchen there. And then, so you just pay all up front, so it's all inclusive. There aren't any like formal classes, although there's so many ladies there with so much experience that if you need help with something, they'll help you if you just ask. I like that there wasn't a class structure for this retreat because it was really more about community and stitching together and meeting new people. There's lots of ladies that come from out of town that I don't get to see at my local store very often, if ever. Some people came from whole states away, so certainly never get to see them except for at things like that. So what we did, we had brunch and dinner. So we'd have brunch at like 11 and dinner at 5:30. The meals were amazing because they were home cooked. They were really big meals, so you weren't hungry the rest of the day. But if you were, there was a snack table. Everyone brought snacks and put it on this big table. So we ate a lot. And what was really cool was that at every meal, when you went and sat down, we had a really big, long table. So we just all sat at the same table. And at every place, there was a little gift. So we got all kinds of stuff that I'm going to show you. And so all of this, for what we paid for it, was like an extremely good value. What the retreat cost, I think it cost around $300 for 3-night stay, 6 meals. Good luck finding like a comfortable place with good food that you can get that for $300. Plus we got all of the gifts that we got, and we got some small projects to work on for free. It was really awesome. Another cool thing was that our our shop owner that runs it, she, in her room, she had a room at the, like, right next to where we were stitching. So in her room during the day, she had a mini shop set up. So she had on her bed, she had fabric, She had charts that had just come in. She had all these notions that you could, scissors, hoops, Q-snaps, needle minders, all this stuff, that anything you could ever need. Project bags that she sells in her shop. So if you got tired of stitching, you just got up and went shopping, which I got some stuff, not terribly a lot, but I did get some. I would have got more, but someone took them from me. Sort of. Actually, it was a friend of mine at my shop, and she really wanted them, and I can just order them if I want them that bad, and I wasn't dying to have them, so that's fine. She can take it. So let me show you what I got. I'll do stash first. I think it's on top. Put the scroll frame down. Okay, so the first thing I got, she had, I'm gonna get this part out. She had a lot of Rosewood Manor samplers. This is the Spring Quaker sampler. I'll just go ahead and take it out. So she had the summer, spring, autumn, and winter samplers. So here's the spring one. I really like the spring. I liked all of them, but in terms of what I would actually want to spend time stitching on, I like the spring one, which you can't tell, but it has all these kind of abstract Quaker motifs of flowers, and I don't know if you can see, but there's all these little words in this really fine font, and they're the names of the flowers, so I thought that was really neat. And it had these really pretty colors. If you remember, I got another Rose Manor, I think it was Quaker Diamonds, that came with the Valdani threads, which are cotton, I think, but they're really nice cotton threads. Yeah, so anyway, I got some fabric to go with it. So I'm thinking of so my band sampler I'm working on now is for my paternal grandmother. And I wanted to make my maternal grandmother something as well. She loves to garden, and she's always had really pretty gardens. So I thought that she would like this a lot, and she would like these colors. I think it would look good in her house. So I got, this is not going to show up well, but it's very, very pale green. Like the palest of pale. But it is green. And I just thought that all of these colors would look really good on it. And I don't think any of them will get lost in it. The fabric that was called for is also a pale green, but it's very variegated. And I don't usually get variegated fabrics. I think I have, now I have 2 pieces in my stash, and they're for very specific projects. I just think, for me, when you have a busy pattern, this is quite a busy pattern, adding a variegated fabric, and even though this one's pretty subtle, it's too much. I don't like it. So, I think it's fine. It's pretty. If that's what you like, go for it, but it's not what I want to make. So I did not. So that was the biggest thing I got. I think that's going to be perfect. I've kind of been waiting for the perfect project to make for my grandmother. So I'm glad I found it. I got this. It's not something I would usually get, but I really like this alphabet. I kind of just want to have, I don't know that I'll make the whole alphabet sampler. I kind of just want this alphabet in my stash. So I picked this up. This is a JBW Designs, the French alphabet sampler. And I think it's stitched, this is using Gentle Art sampler threads. But this would be a great one. You could make it for a baby's room and change the colors super easy. For, to match a nursery. You could use the things to make someone's name or something like that. You could put this with other things. This would be a really good time to use. I think you could use some good variegated threads in here because the design's pretty simple. So yeah, I just kind of wanted this in my stash because I thought it was a versatile chart. And then, just because I liked it, I got the Prairie Schooler, what is this one called? Where There Are Bees. It's number 193. And it just has, I love this. I think this is super cute. I kind of want this in my non-existent kids' room. And then these little things, which I don't usually make small stuff, but they're cute, so whatever. Yeah, I just wanted it. Don't have any plans for it. I've now reached that point in my stash where I'm just buying things just because, which is not really with stitching where I need to be. the last thing I got was a piece of fabric. I don't have the chart for it, but I know what's going on it. That's one thing I don't do. I try not to buy fabric unless it's small pieces of fabric that I know I can use for ornaments, and then I just like to have random scraps of fabric for that. But even then, I don't have a ton of them. But I don't buy big pieces of fabric unless I know what's going on it. That's just, I don't, for me, I understand that people, that's, if you really like fabric and that's inspiring to you, that's fine. But my process is I first get a chart. I decide if I want to change any thread colors. If I do, then I get all that together, and then I go pick a fabric. And so I'd have to have a lot of fabric in my stash for me to be able to do that successfully. So I'd rather just go, and I have a local needle workshop, so I can just go there and pull fabric. So I do that instead and save my money for other things. Anyway, so look at this. I saw this fabric in the mini shop at the retreat, and green's my favorite color, so I was like, I love this. What in the world would I put on this like super bright lime green fabric? I don't know. I couldn't think of anything, so I was like, I really like it. Nothing that I can think of that I would stitch would look good on it, so I just moved on. And then I saw the shop owner and cutting some of this for another lady at the retreat, and I saw what chart she was cutting it for, and it's a Halloween chart that I've been really thinking about doing. I can't remember the name of it. I've ordered it, so when I get it in, I'll show it to you. But it's a simple chart. There's not very many colors. They're mostly dark. I think like the main color is black. It would look so good on this. It wouldn't look, like, I don't think, sometimes with these like bright colors, depending on what you put on it, I think it can look kind of cheesy or kind of, dare I say tacky? I do dare say tacky. So I don't think so with this. This is the perfect Halloween green. That chart is simple enough that variegated fabric will go well with it. It won't be too busy. Yeah, so I'm super excited. And this fabric is Picture This Plus 32 count in Pickled, which is the perfect name for this fabric. So anyway, super excited about that. I will show you that again when I get that chart in. I think that's most of the stash I got. Oh, I got some random things like I needed a hoop, small hoop. We got some small projects to work on with pre-cut fabric that was really tiny. So I needed a small 3-inch hoop to work on it with, which I thought I brought one, but I couldn't find it. So whatever, I probably have two now. I got one of these friction erasable gel pens and highlighters. These are supposed to be good to, you could use it on your chart and erase it, but you can also use it on fabric, and it will disappear if you freeze it, I think. No, it disappears if you heat it, like with an iron or a hair dryer, and it reappears if you freeze it to 14 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I've been wanting to get into embroidery, and so I kind of want to, I need some pens that will be good for marking on fabric. And with embroidery, like when you trace a pattern, it's usually covered up by the threads anyway, so I don't really care if it reappears or disappears or whatnot. Alright, so now I will show you what we got at the retreat. At, I think, the first dinner, we got a chocolate Easter cross, so that was exciting. Haven't eaten it yet. And then I can't remember like when we got these, so I'm just going to show them to you. We got some beeswax in this little case, and it says Nunya beeswax, which I think is really cute. So beeswax you can use kind of like Thread Heaven, if you've ever seen any of that, where like if you're using silk threads tangle really easily. If you're using metallics, they don't like to behave most of the time. You can run it through some beeswax. So this little thing comes in a case where you poke your needle all the way through the beeswax, pull it through, and it will coat your threads for you all the way around. And then you stitch with them, and they're much better behaved. So we got that, and it has a little... So all these gifts we got, for the most part, someone handmade for us. And it was mostly one person who's not the shop owner. So that was really awesome. So anyway, so it has this little backing fabric on it. All the things we got, there were usually multiple colors. Like, so there was one with red paper. That's not fabric, it's paper. Red paper and green or gold paper. And so we would sit down at our place, and then we would start trading across the table. Like, oh, you got a red one. I want a red one. And everyone, so you'd sit there flip-flopping back and forth the whole time, which was a lot of fun. What else did we get? Oh, hold on a second. Oh, there it is. Okay. One morning we woke up, and outside our door was a little Easter package. The Easter Bunny came, and I can't find part of this. Okay. Oh, here it is. So one of the things, two ladies who I was sitting next to the whole time of the retreat, made us a lavender lotion bar. So it's just a lotion bar, you rub your hands on it. They said that they needed more, they should have put more shea butter or something in it to make it more easier to rub off the bar onto your hands, but I don't like greasy lotion, and so this is kind of perfect for me. I just get just the very bare minimum, which is what I want if I ever want lotion. They made us a lavender sugar scrub, so that's homemade, which I haven't opened this. Oh my gosh, it smells really good. Okay. Anyway, so that was exciting. I'm not someone who gets real excited about bath products, and I was pretty excited about that. I think we had some candy, which I ate already. They made these little Notion trays, so these little pop-up trays. How cute is that? I've been really wanting one of these. So this was a perfect thing. So like this is something like when you're stitching, you set it beside you, you put your scissors, your extra needles, your whatever you need to stitch with, and it's all kind of in one spot. It can't go flying off the couch as easily or get lost in the cracks, and your husband won't yell at you for leaving scissors, extremely pointy scissors in the couch. So anyway, so yeah, and I love the fabric. Super cute. They had some other ones too, some other lining fabrics, but I really like the one I got, so that was that. What else did we get? We got a package of darning needles. So these are just bigger needles, a 24 and a 26, just to have on hand, just in a little needle book, so that was cute. These were all things that were at our table when we sat down. We got they called it a needle valet. It's just a super strong magnet with some little push pin magnets on it. So you put this on you can put it behind, this magnet back comes off, so you can put it on your fabric, or you can put it, if you have like a magnet board for your chart, you can put it there, and then stick, if you have different needles threaded, stick them on there, so that's neat. We got a nail file. This is from 31, that bag company. So, the shop owner's daughter sells the 31 bags, so I think that's where she got these. So just a nail file. You've probably seen my nails from when I hold things up. I just lost 2 of the rhinestones on my D. Now it's a weird letter. Anyway, I bite my nails, so I don't have use for a nail file. However, last year I had stopped biting them for a month or so. Then I got stressed about something and I forgot, and I bit them off again. So I'll probably try to stop biting them sometime in the future, but whatever. What else did we get? Sorry, I have all this stuff in a box. Okay. One of the really awesome things we got, there's several ladies in our group who do beading, but the lady who is making all of this stuff is a really excellent beader, and she made us all chatelaines, beaded chatelaines. She beaded these with herself, and her 90-year-old mother helped her bead these. There were all kinds of colors and styles. I really liked this one. It was, I think I originally had a black and white themed one, which black and white's not my all-time, I think it's pretty, but it's not usually my favorite color combination. So I got this one that's more like gunmetal gray with pearl accents. And so a chatelaine, if you don't know, I think people used to wear them around their belts, and you kept the lady of the house kept all of her necessary things on it that she needed throughout the day. But mostly what stitchers use it for now is you put your scissors on the end, So when you're working, they're around your neck. You can't lose them. So I got... She had some really nice scissors. They like some Dovos and some... what are the other ones called? Some Bowen scissors that were really nice, but they're like $60. So I didn't get those, although I tested them a lot because they felt nice. But I got some really, really pointy, just not too expensive, but still pretty decent quality, embroidery scissors. Just kind of liked how fine the point was. They have a nice sheath that comes with them that snaps on, so I think they're perfect. They're light, so they don't pull on this chatelaine too much, and they're light. Yeah, so they're light, and then they're not too big, and then they have the sheath so you can't accidentally stab yourself in the stomach, which would be a tragic way to die. So anyways, we got that. So I like that a lot. So just a lot of really neat and useful gifts. And then every time you went to eat, it was like you got a present, so it was exciting. I love getting presents of any kind. So the last one we got, so the first day we were there, we got this zipper pull. And this one, they were all the same except for the letter, which is your first initial. So we just had to sit down and trade until you found the one that was your initial. So I have a D for Dana. And then what we didn't know is at the very last meal we had, which was lunch on Sunday, we got this project bag that someone made. It's got this like black shiny oilcloth, and then this burlap fabric with this letter print on it. What's really neat about this is that in our stitching shop, she has long tables set up where we all sit around and stitch, and she has those covered with this burlap. So for those of us that stitch there, or for me at least, this reminds me of my needlework shop and how much I like it there and all the good times I've had there. So that's nice. And then plus it's just a big, decent sized project bag. You could put a project you're working in there, threads, chart, notions. You could use it for storing projects you're not working on so the fabric doesn't get dirty. The inside's just the reverse of oilcloth, so nice and clean. So yeah, so that was really nice. And we have the zipper pull to go on it. And the zipper pull matches this pretty well. I mean, it's got like the black and the letters, whatever. Okay. That was exciting. So, that's not all we got. At each evening meal, we had a little project, like a little project kitted up to work on. So I'm going to show, oh wait, I missed something. We got these little needle minders. How cute is that? Let's see if it'll show. It's a little pocket watch. It's like made of wood, and has a little magnet on the back that you can put on your fabric. They had one that had a bunny rabbit on it, I think, but I love the pocket watch. So that's the one I got. Never have too many needle minders. We got name tags to wear so everybody knew their name. Okay, so that was it. So we got these projects that were small, and you can't, like, some people work on them there, some people just take them home. I don't do a lot of smaller projects. It's just not what I like to work on as much. I did do some ornaments last year, which were fine, but it's not like what I'm going to spend all my time on. Some people do, like, only small projects, and they do a lot of them, and that's great. But anyway, so I knew that if I took this home, it would probably sit in its little bag and never get finished. And I didn't necessarily want that to happen, because even if I don't use them for what they're intended for as much, it'll remind me of the retreat, and I had such a great time, so I wanted to do that. So the first thing we got was a kit, and I'm not sure. I think this is from Praiseworthy Stitches, but I'm not sure. So it's a little pincushion kit that comes with all this thing to put it in. So we got the fabric and the thread and stitched it up, little flower pot thing. This is something I probably wouldn't have picked out for myself, but I love it because it came from the retreat. Actually a couple people finished this one. This was the first one we got, and we were all trying to put them together. And this, casing is like rubber, and it doesn't fit very well around the backing for this. This is pin cushion, has a little magnet on the back that's not very strong, but it's meant to like stick to the side of your sewing machine or something. So I started putting mine together after everyone else, and it's got some polyfill in there that's making it squishy. I didn't put as much polyfill in mine so that it would all fit together, and so it's not the best pin cushion, because when you put a pin in it, it stops like immediately, so it doesn't go in very far, so you kind of have to put them in at an angle. But it came with this little butterfly pin. Oh Jesus, I had another needle in it. This is a pin, it's not for like pinning things. It's what people were called, it's like a counting pin. So if you need to stitch to 30 stitches over there, you can put that pin at that last stitch, and so you don't have to keep recounting. This is a Just Nan pin. It's got a little rabbit on it, and I got this in the shop that she had set up. So I've been keeping it in that little pin cushion. So that was the first one. On the second night, we got this little kit. Let me see. And this one, I need to glue the part of it so it will stay together. Hold on a second. Turn it. Okay, that's somewhat close. It's gonna look crooked because it's not fixed, but this little pocket watch. And so we got the linen that's in there, and we got some black silk threads, and then we got some graph paper, and then we got a bunch of alphabets. And so the idea was that you could stitch a word or your initials in whatever alphabet you chose, and then graph it out, which I did. I'm an analytical person, so I'm going to make sure it works before I put it in there. Whereas some people just see what happens. So I did my initials. So I did 2 smaller ones and then the big one in the middle. And then she had 2 options. She had these little seashells you could put in there, or something else, like a button or something, I don't know. But she had several made up that were models that had like whole designs stitched in them. There was one with a snowman, and you can put little tiny seed beads in there, and it's like snow. But anyway, so I need to fix mine. The back's falling off. I need to glue it down. But anyway, I think you can get these little pocket watches like at Michael's or something in like the scrapbooking section. They're probably meant for paper crafts, but they're deep enough that you can put some stitching in there. And then we got some twine too. Put on it. I don't know what I'll ever do with this. I don't really wear stuff like this, so I'll just have it to remember the retreat. So yeah, it's like these projects, not something I'd usually pick up to do, but something kind of cool to remember the retreat by. The last one is actually probably the most useful, although again, I don't use stuff like this. We got one of these little Prairie Schooler makes these little cards with little bitty tiny designs on them. So we got this one that says, which one is this? I don't know. I don't think it has a name. Anyway, so it's just a little bunny and a house and like a weeping willow thing. So we got that. Our fabric was darker, so we all stitched in the bunny. So we made it into this little thread holder paddle thing. This was the last project, so at this point I'd finished my other 2, and now I just wanted to be able to say that I had finished all 3 projects. So I did. I was rushing to get this one done because I was tired of stitching on it. I don't know if you can see I don't think the grass is actually a tent stitch, so it's only half of a cross. I didn't come back and cross it, so it took me half the time. And I would do 2 rows with the slant going this way, and then 2 rows with it going this way, in hopes that it would look like grass waving in the wind. I don't know if it does. Whatever. And then there's a bunny rabbit. Had I been thinking, which I wasn't, I would have glued it this way, so you see it's upside down, so that you could rest it like on a shelf or something and you could see it, right? I was impatient and glued it this way, which is not going to be useful to anyone, but that's okay. It's got little holes in it. It's meant to be a thread minder for smaller projects. I don't use those really, so again, this will be just something to remember the retreat by. I was the only one that finished all 3 projects, so everyone was calling me an overachiever, whereas I was trying to tell them, no, this will all go to waste if I don't do it right now. One thing I like, the shop owner blew up that chart, that little tiny card, so you could see it easily. That was nice. I think that's all we got. We got so much stuff. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, I have a couple other, let me see. Oh, I have a few other things to talk about that aren't retreat related. But one thing I wanted to say was that my kind of overall impression of the retreat, one thing that I took away from it is that I'm a pretty introverted person. I'm somewhere in the middle of introvert and extrovert, but I tend more towards introvert. So I was kind of worried about going to be with that many people for that long. I usually need a lot more alone time than I did at the retreat. And I will get tired and run down and stressed out if I'm around a big group of people for a long time. So, and I often in my life have not had luck with connecting with people in a meaningful way in a big group. It's just not how I socialize usually. So I was kind of worried about that. But the stitching retreat, what was neat about it was that everyone was so welcoming and so excited to be around other people who are passionate about these things that they're passionate about. Because let's face it, we don't meet that many people in everyday life who are really into this stuff. That I just felt at ease the whole time, completely at ease. I was like a social butterfly, if anyone could ever describe me as such. I was going around talking to people. I think one night there was one lady who staying up really late, and so I sat up with her till 3 a.m. every night almost, which is pretty late for me, just talking and stitching together. Yeah, it was just amazing. Just making those connections with people. I was the youngest one there. So I just turned 25 yesterday. So for this hobby, well, I'm aware because I'm on the internet looking at Instagram and on the cross stitch forum that there are plenty of people my age who do cross stitch. In our local area, coming into the store, there aren't that many. So the older women in my group, to them, they think this is kind of dying out because they don't see that many young people. So when they see me, they're, not because I'm special, but they're just excited that someone young is doing it because it means that it's going to continue this craft. So anyway, I was the youngest. The next oldest girl was 30, and then the next oldest one was 50. So kind of a big age gap there. But that was fine. I felt at home. I could finally talk about stitching and knitting and all this other stuff because all these women do other crafts too. As much as I wanted, and no one was gonna start rolling their eyes or dozing off, which was lovely. And yeah, I just had a great time. That's one thing that all of this crafting has brought into my life, has really opened up some areas of my life that I thought were lacking. It's hard for me to make, like I said, those kind of deeper connections with people. And because of this passion that we share, that's no longer difficult. I've always not been very comfortable in large groups of women. I can't tell you what there is. I'm sure there's a treasure trove of psychological analysis there for any therapist who'd care to try, but sorry. Yeah. Anyway, so I was nervous about that. That was fine. There was no, I'm sure that you've experienced this with larger groups of women. There's almost always someone who's going to be catty or have some kind of drama with someone else. And that just wasn't there. It was nice. Really nice and surprising. So anyway, so yeah, I had a great time. I really hope I can make it to the fall retreat. Next year, she's having to add 2 extra retreats, 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall, because she has so many people that want to come. and where we do it is the perfect place to do it, but it limits itself to how many people can be there, and you don't want it to be too big, because she couldn't do all the extra stuff if there were, 80 people there. So, I really liked the size that we had. It was so cool to walk around and see everyone's projects they were working on. Yeah, so it was just really neat. So anyway, so that was exciting. Other things to talk about. So it's my birthday. So of course I asked for some crafty things. The big thing, one of my big goals this year was to learn how to sew. Another one was spinning, and it still is a goal, but, I'm having to prioritize. So, reasons why I wanted a sewing machine. One, like when I do cross stitching, is if I'm not framing it, it needs to be finished somehow, and that almost always involves sewing something together. So, So needed for that. I am really interested in quilting. That really gets my creative juices flowing, because I like the playing with color and pattern thing. So that I'm interested in fashion design. Not that I think I'll do a whole lot of designing my own clothes, but I would at least like to explore construction, and see where that road takes me. And so really, all of that's just kind of I want to experiment with it. So I need a sewing machine. So I asked my dad to get me, or not, I actually didn't ask him to get me one. I asked him to help contribute to a sewing machine after I picked out the one I wanted. And then he's my dad, so he said he would just buy it for me, which was super, super nice, because it's a nice machine. I ordered it, and I'm anxiously awaiting for them to call me and tell me when it comes in. I ordered it from a sewing machine dealer here. I went through a dealer because I wanted to have somewhere to take it to be maintenance, and they usually have maintenance, like you can, I think with them, for 5 years, you can take it in once a year to be cleaned and just have it looked at. They add an extra year to your repair warranty that comes from the manufacturer. The one I went to, if you want to upgrade your machine within a year of buying it, they will take the full price of the machine that you originally bought off of the price of the new machine that you want to upgrade to, which is really nice. That means they're not going to depreciate it for a year if you trade it in. So that would be nice if I decide to do that. What else? They do classes and stuff there, so you can bring it in and they'll help you. I picked the dealer that I wanted because they had the most brands that I was interested in, and then I just went in and said, I'm a beginner sewer, but I'm really into all of this stuff, so I expect to pick up things quickly. I'm not afraid of trying new things, so I don't want something too beginner, but I don't want something that has a bunch of features I'm not going to use for a while, that I'm going to have to pay for. So they recommended the Janome Magnolia 7330 model. I did some research. It's a really good model. It was in my price range. Has I think it has 30 different stitches, which I may not use all of those, but I may. I don't know. It's pretty versatile. It's sturdy. I've heard good things about the Janome brand in general, and that sewing machine in particular. It will be pretty rugged if I want to do some more heavy duty stuff like home decor things. So anyway, I'm excited about it. So we ordered it last Tuesday. They said it takes about a week to get in. I called them on Friday to make sure that they ordered it because I wasn't sure. They said they did. And I called Tuesday, this past Tuesday, which would have been a week. And I was just asking, I'm not worried about it, and I wasn't upset. And I called to ask if it had come in yet. And they were like, no, and don't worry, we'll call you. So they're basically saying, stop calling us all the time. But now it's been a week and a half, and I kind of want my sewing machine. And I know they have a tracking number or something, so they could just tell me it's the day away or whatever. Anyway. I thought my dad sneakily got it and then didn't tell me, was going to surprise me. But then yesterday I asked him if he had it because he hadn't said anything yet, and he didn't. Or he does, and he's still tricking me. I don't know. So, anyway. So waiting on that. In the meantime, when I get my sewing machine, I'm going to have something to sew on. And I might take some classes. I'm kind of kind of person. I really want to figure it out on my own at home. I like doing things, like learning like that, just teaching myself. So I went to, Monday I was having a stressful day at work, so I went to the bookstore afterwards and to look at some books to help teach myself to learn how to sew. And so here's what I got. I got this book. It's called 1, 2, 3 Sew. And it says Build Your Skills with 33 Simple Projects. It's by Ellen Baker. Ellen Lickett Baker. Is it published by? I don't know. Anyway, so what I was looking for, a good range for a beginning sewing book. A good range of skills, a layout that I like, projects that I actually want to make. There's, things in here I would actually use. A variety of projects. So if you look here, it says bags, accessories, home accents, and more. So there's lots of different things in here. And there's like 33 projects. And so I wanted something, that would really help me learn a bunch of skills, different sewing techniques. And so that's what I got. So I like this one. One thing, should anyone be writing a crafting book, please put a project index with pictures of all the projects in it. You can just look at it at one glance. It is so frustrating to have to sit here and flip through and try to find the pages that have the projects on it when you're looking at like 20 different books in the middle of Barnes & Noble and everyone's mad at you for taking up all the room. So anyway, that would be nice, but not everyone does that. So the next book I got is called Stitch Savvy. This is kind of a next step up from beginner, and it says 25 skill building projects to take your sewing to the next level. So this is more about expanding your skills. So I'll probably move to this one next. And again, it just has a bunch of different variety of projects and, stuff. So that's that. And then one I got just for kicks and giggles, a bag for all reasons. And it's just got bags in it. I use a lot of bags all the time. And so I got this because that's all that's in it. It's a lot of bags. And they're actually cute bags that I would use. Oh, sorry, I just got distracted. I haven't looked at all of them yet. But anyway, what was the one bag that I was really looking forward to doing? Oh, this messenger bag. This messenger bag, there's a website called Modcloth that sells clothes and stuff. And they have these kinds of bags in all different colors, and they cost a lot of money because they're made of leather, but you can make your own. How cool is that? There's cosmetic cases, things for kids, tote bags, all kinds of stuff. So that's just because in my mind I'll be able to do that really soon. And then also while I was there, I picked up an issue of Quilty. I wanted to get a quilting magazine to look through. And I think this is a beginning issue. I think all their issues are this, but there's pretty easy quilts in here, it seems like. And they're just really neat. They're kind of more modern and different, so I like that. And then for whatever reason, I also bought a copy of Spin-Off. I don't know if this is the newest. Oh yeah, Spring 2014 issue. Because I am wanting to kind of pick up where I left off my spinning, so I'll be kind of trying to get back into that more. I say that all the time, but whatever. And this is the color issue, which I'm really interested in color, so I was interested in that. I think, let's see what else. Oh yeah, one more thing. A couple weeks ago, I was in Russellville, Arkansas, which is my hometown, or I really have two hometowns, one of which I live in. Anyway, so we were in Russellville. I went and we were helping my dad do something at my grandmother's house, and while I was there, she gave me some birthday money because she didn't know if she would see me before my birthday again. And then also while I was there, there's a yarn store there that was there when I was in high school there, but I haven't been to. And I tried to go to it a few weeks ago, but they were closed randomly. And so I went that day and immediately spent my birthday money. It was an amazing shop. I'm kind of mad that it's in my old hometown. And then I wasn't knitting when I was there because it's such a good shop. I was with my sister-in-law, Jana, who doesn't knit, but will listen to me talk about it. And I told her that she needs to knit just because she has a good local yarn shop, whether she wants to knit or not, because it shouldn't go to waste. But I don't think she did. She listened to me, which is fine. But anyway, but yeah. So I'm really excited. Actually, a group of us, some ladies in my stitching group knit. One of them's a ridiculously good knitter, and so they didn't know about it, so we're gonna go look at it together sometime. Anyway, so I got a couple things. One was this sock yarn. It's Gypsy Girl Creations, the Transitions color. So this makes some really wide stripes, self-striping, and this is in the Thistle colorway. So it's just really pretty. It's got teal and purple and kind of a raspberry color. Colors aren't showing up great. And white. So anyway, it's really pretty. I got 2 skeins of that. Probably to make socks. Maybe to make something else. Then I didn't have that much time to look around, and like I said, my sister-in-law was with me, and I didn't want to make her sit there too long. So I really need to go back, and it was not that big, but it was crammed full of stuff, and so and good stuff too. So I'm really excited to go back and look. But I also found she had some Ella Rae. And she had several different bases, but this is the lace merino, which is, well, it's just 100% merino, extra fine merino, so it's super soft, very thin. So I'm going to make probably a shawl with this, if I could not throw it across the room. I think on Ravelry it said this was a fingering or light fingering. I don't know. But it's super pretty. It's like really plum color. I don't know what color you would call this. It's not. It looks brown on screen. That's not what it is. It's like super pale purple. Pale. It's not pale. I just meant soft. Sorry. It's my day off from work, and it's been a long work week, so my brain's not working. Anyway, it's pretty, so it'll be something someday. Anyway, that's that. What else? That's it. That's all the things I bought. That's not true. I told you that the store owner that runs the retreat, her daughter was there. Her daughter sells 31 bags. They were having some kind of deal. If you spend this much money, you got this bag that I really wanted, so I spent that much money. And got some smaller bags. It wasn't that much money. I got some smaller, bags. I think I got one I'm going to use for a project bag, and one was like a bin thing to set on your workspace that I'm going to keep fabric scraps in. And then a bigger bag that I wanted that they're going to start selling in the next issue. I don't know how 31 works, but I guess they release catalogs every so often, and once that catalog's over, that stuff's gone or something. I don't know. So they're releasing a new bag and a new pattern in the next issue, but if you do the sale thing, you get it for way less than it's gonna cost. I don't know. So anyway, I got that, but I haven't got those in yet, obviously. I think that's it. What else? Oh, one last thing that's not related to any of this. So my husband, Mark, is a really big cinephile. He loves watching movies. I have lost my ability to watch movies, and I've never been super into movies anyway. So the way we watch movies is really different, and we always argue about which movies are good and which ones aren't. Although people should probably listen to him and not me. So anyway, we thought something that would be interesting. And then in the middle of all that is kind of me not always appreciating movies as an art form or a method of storytelling, and appreciating movies in their entirety. So not just the storyline and the plot and characters, which I tend to appreciate more from reading, but then also reading. I have to talk about books. Half of this podcast, well, part of this podcast is supposed to be about books. Anyway, yeah, I have all my books I need to talk about. This is a long episode. Sorry. Anyway, so what we decided to do is he's going to show me movies, and then we're going to talk about them and kind of see if I can learn to appreciate them more or something. Anyway, and we're making a podcast about it. We've done the first episode. We're having some issues getting it on the internet. Well, no, it is on the internet. We want to put it on iTunes, and we're having some issues with that. So, if anyone has any advice on how to submit podcasts, just audio podcasts to iTunes, I would appreciate it. It's a really convoluted, complicated process. It seems like it shouldn't be as hard as it is, but it is. So, anyway, so we're in the process of working on that. I will keep you updated on it. So what we do is we watch a movie and we just talk about it, talk about how we felt about it, what we thought. The first episode went really well because we happened to watch a movie that we both really, really liked, and that was easy for me to kind of appreciate as a movie. So the next ones, we'll see what happens. So it's kind of exciting. We're having a good time doing it. So I will put more information about that probably in the next show when we've done another episode or two. So anyway, but be on the lookout for that if you're interested in movies. And we're still, I don't know if it will be, but I hope it's enjoyable. We, like to talk to each other, and we're pretty silly together, so hopefully it'll be fun to listen to. Anyway, so that's that. Let me talk about the books. Sorry, I have a giant pile of stuff here. I actually finished 2 books. How exciting. I did what I said I was going to do. There's too much stuff on this desk. Okay. I finished The Secret History. Yay. I liked it. I think I gave it 3 stars, which is not a bad review for me. It means I liked it fine. I think I may have given it more, but it just took me a while to get into it, and I read it. I had it in the currently reading pile for too long, but anyway, it was really interesting. I should have written down my thoughts. I meant to, and I forgot them all. Sorry, I'll try to be better about that, because I do want it. Reading is a part of this podcast, and I want it to be. So I'll try to do a better job of reading, of making notes on when I'm reading. Because I forgot, because it's been 2 weeks since I finished this. But anyway, good, very suspenseful, pretty dark, but interesting. So if that's your thing, check that out. The other book I read that I finished this past week was Dodger by Terry Pratchett. It's a young adult novel of his. It's a standalone, not in a series. It was really interesting. It was historical fiction, set in the mid-1800s-ish, I guess. It focuses on a character named Dodger, who seems to be inspired from Dodger from Oliver Twist. There are characters like Solomon, the old man, and Oliver Twist is in here. There may be other people that I forgot from Oliver Twist, but those were the 2 main, Oliver Twist is not in this book. Anyway, so, and it focused on Dodger, and then he meets a girl who's in trouble, and he's trying to figure out, there's a mystery behind that, and he's trying to figure it out, and in the meantime, he meets all these people, like Charles Dickens is a main character. Some side characters he meets are like Sweeney Todd and Queen Victoria randomly, and several other people who are historical figures. And it's just, Terry Pratchett is one of the most accomplished writers I can think of, even though he's a genre writer, which shouldn't be an issue anyway, but for some people it is. Anyway, so funny and witty and interesting. I think I gave it 4 stars. I'm kind of stingy with my 5-star ratings. I only give 5 stars to things that really are gonna stick with me a long time. And while I love this one and I recommend it to just about anyone who has any kind of sense of humor or heart or is interesting, it's it's not one of my all-time favorites. So not for any really reason, just my all-time favorites they just connect with you on that level that you can't even really describe. Just some strong emotional connection, which, while I really love that book, is not there. But anyway, 4 stars is a good review, so who cares? So yeah, great. And for young adult fiction, a really nice change from the love triangle dystopian fiction stuff that is taking over vampires. We gotta get away from this trend thing in young adult. It's really annoying. Because then it's just like the market just gets flooded with these kinds of stories. And there are great dystopian young adult fiction novels. The Hunger Games kind of kicked it all off. And that's fine. It's great. There's some other good ones. But there's just too many. I don't know. Who likes dystopian stuff that much? Dystopian's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. Anyway, it's about getting to the point of the vampires. I can't even read about vampires anymore. Because it just makes me sad. Anyway, so what am I reading now? So, what was I going to say? My mind just went entirely blank. Right. So when I read, I usually read multiple books at a time. That's slowing down now that I'm not just reading all the time, because if I read 5 books at a time, I'd finish to a year, because I just wouldn't be able to get to them all soon enough. And while I can put one down and pick it up relatively late, quite some time later, and just keep on going, it gets to be a little bit frustrating when it's been 3 months since I've read every book I pick up. So anyway, I'm kind of trying to keep it to like 2 or 3 books. But we'll see how it goes. But when I finished Dodger, I cleared out my currently reading pile. I wasn't currently reading anything, which is always real exciting to me, because then I don't feel obligated to keep reading something. So anyway, I got to pick some new books to read, which was fun. So, yeah. So this book I've been wanting to read for a while now. Well, I should probably turn it the right way. I've had it for a long time, Wuthering Heights, and I've been meaning to read it, and it's kind of slowly worked its way up the read this next pile. So I have just barely started it. I'm really liking it. 19th century British fiction is possibly my all-time favorite genre of fiction. It clicks in my brain. I love the writing style. And usually I just find it interesting. So, and I'm an Anglophile, so I like reading about England, and I like this time period. It all fits together. So I'm enjoying this. I expect I'll like it. But I'm interested because it's a different kind of story than I usually read. It's not like Jane Austen. Not kind of like Charlotte Bronte, but not quite. Yeah, so it'll be nice to try out a new author. I've never read anything by Emily Bronte. Of course, that's her most famous one. And then, oh, yeah, I picked this up when I was in Barnesville. Oh, I just realized that Emma's over there. I don't know how long she's been there. Anyway, that's my cat, Emma. I got a Stephanie Pearl McPhee book. When I put this on Goodreads that I was reading it, my sister-in-law, Jana, the one who doesn't knit, said that I needed an intervention, a crafting intervention. She's probably right. It's kind of getting ridiculous, but I don't plan on intervening with myself anytime soon. So this is a book of essays. I think this is her second book of essays. Stephanie Pearl McPhee is the yarn harlot. She teaches lots of classes all over the place. She's about as famous as you can be in the knitting world, which is pretty famous. She does book tours and all kinds of things. She teaches classes at fiber festivals. Yeah, and she's very funny, very witty, and she is really interested in the knitting culture, stories about knitters, kind of how knitting connects to your life, what knitters are like, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I'm enjoying this quite well right now. They're really short. They're like usually, I don't know, at the most like 5 or 6 of these tiny pages. And so it's just kind of nice, easy reading, which is always good to have with a book like Wuthering Heights, which is a little bit more meatier. So, yeah, so that's what I'm reading now. I probably will find another book I want to read before I see you next. So, that is it. This episode has been ridiculously long. I am sorry. I had a lot to talk about. I probably will have a lot to talk about next time. I can't help it. This is what I like to do, what I like to talk about. So, yeah. I apologize for looking crazy. this is my day off, and I didn't feel like getting dressed up, so sorry. I don't really ever feel like getting dressed up, honestly. Sometimes I do, but not usually at 9:30 in the morning. So anyway, I hope you have a great week. Please find me on Instagram and the Ravelry and Cross Stitch Forum. Leave comments on YouTube, on the blog. I love hearing from people. I think that's it. Yeah, thanks.